Joining us now is Peter McGuire from XM Australia. Peter, hi, good to have you. I mean, we're at the last, few working sessions for December before the holiday season kicks in. So it's all about Outlook 2022 now. And starting with the metals as a sector, we've been talking to a lot of people, and nickel seems to be top of the list as a choice for investment. When you look at the sector itself, how are you looking at metals, and are you also bending, or are you also bullish for nickel?
Well, Manisha, I think first off, the overall sector is quite depressed considering where we were in recent months. So the prices have given back a little bit. Some of them are relatively okay, but if we look at Dr. Copper, for instance, it's well off its highs that we experienced a few months ago. So I think it's good buying. I think 22 should be a relatively okay year for growth. I think it'll be volatile because you've got the inflation story that hasn't gone away, and you've got taper being cut. And I think a number of central banks across the globe will start to ratchet up rates. So that's going to be interesting as far as the dynamics playing out from a demand picture and economic uncertainty with rate rises.
So what you are saying, Peter, is that the kind of highs that we've seen in this year are not going to be repeated in next year. So are you looking at a consolidation, and what themes could really play out?
Well, I'm not sure whether you're going to see those highs taken back out. Though anything can happen in the commodity sector, I think it's great buying at the moment. What happens moving forward, Manisha, I think where we go from here, we're going to worry about where the US dollar trades. That's really the big, the gorilla in the room. We've got 96 for that US dollar index, or approaching that sort of number. So there creates, I think, the uncertainty. If we see that go up to 97 or 98, as far as US dollar index, then I think that may put a little bit further pressure on a number of those key base metal commodities.
So, Peter, how are the metals looking in your, portfolio or your basket? How are you placing them then?
Well, Manisha, I think overall there's, I believe the big picture as far as infrastructure growth over and infrastructure demand for a lot of economies over the next 3 to 5 years. So I think the overall story is going to be strong for all of the base metals. I'm just not sure how much further they can go as far as price in the short run. If we see US dollar up, I think demand will be strong, and I think it's a good time for it to be a producer and a miner. As far as the consumer is concerned, the building costs associated with a lot of these base metals are absolutely horrendous. The input costs for home renovation and all the way through to stud lumber, to nickel, to, as you mentioned, to copper, tin, lead and zinc will really ratchet the price up. So there are the concerns I think everyone faces.
Okay. All right, Manisha as well as Peter, thanks very much for joining in. Yes, input cost pressures is probably one of the biggest talking points of this year.